The answer to financial problems is to make more money. Cutting expenses and being on a never-ending budget has limited effects, and inflation and layoffs ensure this strategy stops working at some point.
There is a point where you can cut your expenses all you want, but if you make $25,000 a year, you're right, you're not going to get very far financially. So you've got to make more. And I believe income is one of the only things in our control. Everyone wants to point at inflation and the White House and the economy and all of these things that we don't have full control over. What we can control is how much debt we have, what our income is, and what our daily spending habits are. And that's where I think the budget carries through. Till the end of my days, I'll be doing a budget because it helps me know where I'm at financially, if I'm on track to get to where I want to go. And part of that is, am I managing my expenses wisely? Yes, let me cut down my expenses because I might find an extra $1,000 or $2,000 in there just by getting wise about that. But I might still need more margin, and that's where making more will only compound that effect. Because if I can save $1,000 and make $1,000, that's a $2,000 spread.
Up to what point do you have control over your income? Like what dollar amount?
I mean, I think in America, there's endless opportunity. I mean, now the new goal for every Gen Zer and Alpha is become a YouTuber. And it's not because of just the spotlight. You can make really amazing money on YouTube. You guys are living proof of that. And so I think part of it is, what are you willing to do? What skill set do you bring to the marketplace? And what kind of setbacks are going to hold you back from building that kind of wealth? Because if you go get a $150,000 degree that has no marketplace value, you're going to be a lot more frustrated. You're not going to be making a lot, and you're going to have a lot of debt. But if you avoid the debt, start your adult life, no debt, making a decent salary, and figure out ways to, maybe it's climbing a corporate ladder for you based on your role, or maybe you want to be an entrepreneur. And that's, a lot of people are wanting to go that route. And we know with entrepreneurship, it's difficult, but the ceiling is much higher. You know, what Dave Ramsey makes as an entrepreneur and CEO far will outweigh whatever I could ever make as an employee of a company. And so you also have to understand the different levels. If you're going to be an employee, unless you're a C-suite executive, it's going to be hard to make seven figures. But if you're a CEO and you run a company really well and serve people well in the marketplace, you could make 3, 5, 7 million a year.
But what point do you think someone has control over their income to say, like, hey, if you're making 20, you should be able to make 50? Or there's no reason you can't make 60 or 70.
When you look at the internet and how much you can get for free of just skills, I do think we're seeing less demand for, you have to have this college degree.
Yes.
In most fields. I would say 90% of the fields out there, they're not saying you have to get a master's. What they're saying is, do you have the soft skills and the hard skills to do this job and experience? Which worries me when kids are getting their 4th master's degree with no experience and then wondering why no one will hire them. Well, they're overqualified with 0 experience. Why would I want to hire you? You got too much on the line. I'd rather hire the guy who's hungry with no degree or with a 4-year degree or whatever that I can grow into the role. And so I do think there is a limit depending on where you are, right? If you live in the sticks and you can't find remote work and there's only a Walmart and a Dollar General, yeah, your income is going to be limited by that. But the beautiful thing is, we're in America. You can move. People forget that you can move locations. You guys have moved. You moved from California to Vegas, right? Was it partially for financial reasons?
Oh, yeah.
So technically, you are bringing more home now than you were in California, even making the same income. That's an option people have. They don't think about that when it comes to their income, is you have to think about income taxes and what does it cost to live here? What does it cost to rent? So I think if you're willing to make the right sacrifices, you're willing to be a lifelong learner, your career potential, your salary potential is exponential to a degree. If you're an employee, if you ever make $1 million, I'm going to be high-fiving you. That's incredible. But you also don't need to make $1 million to have a great life. We see people who are making 50, 60, 70 with a great life.
I think that's a great take that's like not talked about enough, but it's also really controversial. It could be why, is that if you can't afford to live in a certain place, then you should probably just move. That's like the other side of the token, where like a lot of people think, I need to live in LA, I need to live in like Manhattan, because why not? I grew up here. I should be able.
It's what I know.
Yeah, they feel entitled to be able to live in a specific place. But if you can't afford it, then you might just have to move out of the city and then commute to work, ideally not, but I think that people need to be maybe a little bit more okay being uncomfortable.
I talked to a guy yesterday on the Ramsey show, and he lives in LA. He's got a partner who's about to have their kid, and their rent is $3,200. They split it, so he's paying $1,600. He wanted to start 2 businesses. He said the partner screwed him out of compensation, so now he's been driving for Uber. So he financed a Tesla, which has a $700 a month payment. He's paying $800 a month for charging. Wow. He's paying $350 a month for insurance, and he has debt in every other area of his life. And I'm going, dude, you need to move. You can do Uber in Ankeny. You don't need to be in Los Angeles to drive for Uber. And so I was trying to just show him that there's more options out there, and that if he wants to get out of debt, yeah, paying this much in rent is part of the problem. And there is a solution there. Or you go get roommates. Like, you've got how many roommates?
4 others.
And that limits your personal housing expenses.
Yeah.
Because they're all paying into the pot. And so there's nothing wrong with, if you're single, have roommates. Even Jade Warshaw, one of the Ramsey personalities, her and her husband had a roommate to help them pay off debt. They had an extra room. They said, we're going to rent this out, and it's going to help us pay off debt. So you've got to kind of swallow your pride and go, I'm not entitled to have my own 1-bedroom, apartment in LA just because I'm a grown adult. Doesn't work like that.
Yeah, renting out a room, I honestly think, is one of the best things that you could do to make more money. I mean, when you think about it, even like $800 a month.
Yeah.
Think of how
have you thought
hard
about
you
it at
have
your
to work
place? People would pay a premium to live with Graham Stephan.
He has thought about this.
I don't know how Macy would feel about it. Have you talked to her about this
Depends
idea?
on who it is. We have a few friends that we would love just to,
if it was
give
Jack,
them a room.
Oh, Graham would love for me to live with him.
Just
in
like
fact,
old times.
I've tried.
I was for a while, and then he started trying to charge me in not rent. He's
in
not
Bitcoin?
Rent. No, in like
utilities.
in utilities, $300 a month in
I
utilities.
just say,
Fair.
hey, just chip in
Skin
for
in the
utilities.
game.
That's it.
Right. So
You
I
treat
was
the place
so
differently.
as soon as you started doing that, I started looking to buy a house because you gotta measure
Jack
out
calculated that buying a house was cheaper than paying $300 a month for utilities. Tell me how that makes sense, Jack.
It was
different math.
It absolutely was.
That's
I am
Jack
significantly better off right now financially because I bought a house and because I'm renting out the rooms and I'm living for free and that's not even counting paying into my own equity in the mortgage payment.
Wow.
So,
well, to that end, I think a lot of people that are living at home are stunting their growth. And I think if you're not charging your kids something to live there as an adult with a job, you're doing it wrong.
That's what I was telling you.
There needs to be an exit strategy. You have to push them out of there.
Exactly.
Because if you let them live for free, why the heck would I want to go rent for $1,200?
Exactly.
So you were just being a good parent.
Seedy characters over too.
Very seedy.
He wouldn't let me bring people over, which was another reason why I wanted
I get it. It's my place. I don't want strangers in and out of my house.
I wouldn't complain about it. I think that's his decision.
And to be fair, did you mature, emotionally, physically, financially by moving out and getting your own place?
Absolutely.
Was there an independence you gained?
Yeah, and I had lived, in my own place before. Like I didn't just go straight from my parents to my pseudo parent over here. Like I had a couple of other, living situations somewhere in between.
Yeah, there's something about having your own place, having to take care of it, having to pay the bills, having to be on all the accounts and manage that sort of actually sends you into adulthood.
Absolutely.
So I encourage it. Now I get people go home, they want to pay off some debt aggressively for a year while living at home, or they had a life situation happen. It's okay, but don't let the safety net become a hammock, which has happened a lot.